Hello, this is Malorian, and this is Orc Tactical Team again, and what we're going to be talking about today is Orc BSBs, or also Goblin BSBs. And in an army like Orcs and Goblins, where you have a really low leadership base all around, having this BSB is just as important as having your general with your high leadership. The only reason I can see not needing this BSB is if you're running a very shooty heavy, magic heavy defensive army. So this is an army that's set up having tons of spear chuckers, tons of doom divers, all much as magic as you can get into it, and then just a bunch of fanatics when they even get close. So you're already saying that when they get to you, you want to, you're going to be losing, and you'd rather use up those character choices on getting more magic. But in any other army for Orcs and Goblins, I would say that you have to take that BSB, the Battle Standard Bearer. Now, if you look through a lot of the list, the most common one you see out there is a Black Orc Big Boss with heavy armor on a boar, and usually the magical banner he has is a Spirit Totem. So, I had said before when we were talking about war bosses that I did not like Black Orcs. I thought the cost was not worth what you got, but here, in this case, I do agree with it. I think that this is the best build you can go with. And why is that? Well, first of all, what are you getting for making him a Black Orc? Well, you're getting that better armor, and what your opponent's going to be knowing is that when he's trying to be fighting an Orc and Goblin's army, he knows that if he shuts down your leadership, he's going to crack you open. So he's going to be looking to kill your general, and he's going to be looking to kill your BSB. And obviously the BSB is going to be easier to kill than a general. So that's why you want him heavily armored and defended. So having him like that, you get to have a heavy armor instead of just a regular light armor that a regular orc could get, and you can also put him on a boar. And whereas before I said I like the savage orc for the attacks, if you have a savage orc on top of a boar, they're just going to bait him out. So that's why I'm thinking that this black orc is really nice. You can also use it with a little bit of synergy here, because if you have this black orc BSB along with, say, your savage orc war boss, all of a sudden if that unit squabbles or something, you can have the BSB quell it, and then you still have your war boss that's set up as a savage to be more offensive. And of course, just like I said before for synergy, another way to keep these guys safe is to put them in a unit of night goblins with nets, so that really that Black Orc Big Boss that before was toughness 5 with a 2+ save is basically now, when you net the opponent, toughness 6 with a 1+ save. So it's just that little bit of benefit. But another great thing for having him as a Black Orc, which used to be huge, but now everybody can do it, is that thanks to his arm to the teeth little free upgrade he has, that means he can take things like a great weapon. And back in the day, other BSBs couldn't do this. So it was just amazing that this Black Orc BSB could be having this great weapon and be killing stuff at the same time. Right now, you're just getting the +1 strength when you're on the boar. And but going ahead to hearing the 8th, I hear it's going to be +2 again. But anyway, that's a very nice build, very nice and offensive. And just to throw it in there too, another thing I like having these BSBs on boars is it also adds another element to them, where as I'm moving up, if I ever need them to, I can shoot them out to hit, say, like either a war machine that's been exposed, some fast cav I want to clear out of the way, or even the run up and try and kill a character. So it's kind of like having this little jump out missile unit within your own. And because he's already, he's a tough fighter, he's going to have the +1 combat res from the banner, he can usually do pretty well on his own. And then the rest of the stuff moves up and mops up. But that being said, there are a lot of other different builds you can do, and if you find yourself at the end of your list being a little bit tight on points, it could be that that's the point where, okay, maybe instead of making a Black Orc Big Boss, I'm just going to make him a regular Orc Big Boss BSB. Or maybe sometimes you have to cut even more out. Maybe you have to cut out the boar, you have to cut out even like the heavy armor, and it gets to the point where you got to wonder, alright, I'm not going to make him combat heavy, he's really here just to be a cheap BSB reroll, and at that point you might as well go all the way down and make him a Night Goblin BSB. And with that, then he could be just going up in the main lines. Once you get just before combat, he runs out and joins some unit that's following up behind, and at the same time he has that little range, that little bubble of re-rolling break tests, and that's a really cheap. I mean, the thing about that one last build they're talking about with that Black Orc Big Boss with the boar and all this stuff is he can get pretty pricey pretty quick, but a Night Goblin BSB, very, very cheap. getting to the magic banner part of it, like I said before, the most popular one is the Mork Spirit Totem. And the reason for that is that you get as many Dispel dice as you have rank bonuses in the unit, so a lot of the times you're just getting an extra 3 Dispel dice all the time. And that can be great. I mean, for usually Orc magic is not all that great, but their magic defense with this banner and other things can be very solid. So that's a very popular choice, having that on him. But you can always get away with doing some other things too. One of the other ones you can always do is just throw in a war banner, right? One of the great things about BSBs is that they add to your static combat res. And so if you are willing to go a little bit more with a weaker magic defense, you give them that war banner, and all of a sudden that unit that you have them with is going to be even stronger in combat. I mean, you take your one plain Night Goblins with nets, you throw in your war boss, you throw in this BSB with the war banner, all of a sudden you have this, I mean, for Night Goblins, it's a very hard hitting unit, and you can start breaking a lot of serious opponents with that. Another one that I really like is the WA banner, and that's one that when you declare your charge, you add D6. And this is not something you could probably have in your list all the time, because your opponents will know that it's coming and know how to deal with it. But if you just sneak it in there every little once in a while, you know, your opponent figures that you have the Spirit Totem, and then all of a sudden, bang, you use this for this big charge, especially if you put them on the flank or something, and you can just rush them right in and just crack them open and just win the game right there from that one item, just getting that extra long charge. There's a lot of other magic banners, usually the ones for the goblins, ones where they give you magical attacks, or goblins are stubborn, things like that. And I really don't think that a lot of them are really worth it. Of course, if you're running a pure goblin army, some of them can be. I mean, especially if you're going, say, with a full goblin army with that one Night Goblin special character, you might want to go with a big unit that also has Night Goblin BSB that has that stubborn banner. Or even if you're just running like an old goblin army, there's one that makes you re-roll some sort, I think it was all panic tests, something like that. So in those cases, if you are doing a themed army, I can see that they can work their way in, but in a mixed, really tactical army, I don't really see much of a point getting any of those type of goblin banners. Now, another part of psychology here is that as tough as you can make these BSBs, they're still rather weak. Like even that Black Orc one with the great weapon, tons of killie, when he's going for that great weapon, he really only has a 3+ save, 2 wounds, and really any serious combat hero, or especially lord, or even monsters can kill this guy. And even 1 wound will be giving up a lot of victory points. So one of the things you might want to do when you're putting this together and making your model is just making this BSB looking big and powerful, right? So that when it gets time to combat and they're deciding who they're going to be directing their attacks against, they're looking at this one model that, you know, big huge banner going up, he has this big huge great weapon, and then he looks at the little boys, right, little tiny guys, and he knows if he attacks the boys, it'll be an easier kill, get more combat resolution, it's going to be better for him. So you can use kind of this psychology to make them think that this BSB is, you know, insanely powerful, and you might as well attack these little weak boys instead. You can work these little things in. So anyway, that's all I want to say for those Orc and Goblin BSBs right now. Again, just a quick little summary. They're very critical. Make sure that I would say go with the Black Orc one, so you can get that great weapon and make him as a best of an armor save as possible. Just like the War Boss, I think he should be put in with Night Goblins with nets to keep him even safer. And for fun, you can always change up the build and go for things like the WA banner and stuff like that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Next time we're going to be doing another viewer submitted question. They had a lot of questions about dwarves, and so we're going to be doing a episode on the dwarf castle and formations. So see you then. Bye.